Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Brian Dolan, and I'm the superintendent of schools here for Dixon Unified, and I'm glad you joined us tonight. And I would like to introduce Karina Martinez. Karina is our district translator, so she, unfortunately for her, has to work with me quite a bit, but I appreciate her help here tonight.
Gracias por haber venido hoy. Él es el las escuelas del Distrito Escolar de Jackson, el señor Brian Dolan. Les agradecemos el haber estado aquí con nosotros hoy. Yo me llamo Karina y soy la intérprete del distrito.
So we're going to try to share some information with you tonight that will help explain what we're looking at with regards to getting our children to return back to school for in-person.
Vamos a compartirles a todos ustedes información acerca de todo lo que estamos haciendo para regresar a nuestros estudiantes a la escuela.
I want to get to the right. Sorry, I'm doing the wrong presentation. There we go. I think that's it. Okay, I got the right place. All right, so a few things I would like to share just as we get started here. And my PowerPoint does not want to move. Okay, so, oh, there we go. All right. I wanted to, first off, just say a few words about kind of the context, the overall situation as we open up here. So the first thing I'll say is we know school is going to be different than we're used to. There's just no way that we can come back expecting things to be the way they were before COVID.
Okay. Algunas contexto para reapertura de escuelas es una de las cosas que sabemos definitivamente es que la escuela va a ser muy diferente a lo que estábamos acostumbrados a lo que era. Todo va a ser muy, muy diferente.
There will be, there will be a lot of things that, are similar, but, we've never had our kids come to school wearing masks before, and we've never told them stay 6 feet apart and things like that. But we are expecting them to come back and learn and grow.
So, habrá unas cosas que serán iguales como eran antes, pero una de las cosas principales es que vamos a recibir a nuestros estudiantes con mascarillas y van a tener que estar mantener 6 pies de distancia entre ellos y los demás estudiantes. Pero sabemos que van a poder aprender y lo van a poder hacer.
We also really understand that our children are going to have different needs than they have had in the past. The impact of being out of school for a year and being isolated from their friends. We have concerns for them about their learning, and we have concerns about their social, emotional health and their well-being.
Tenemos algunas preocupaciones para nuestros estudiantes ahora que regresen a la escuela. Sabemos que todo va a ser muy diferente para ellos, pero estamos preocupados por cómo van a interactuar socialmente y por su salud mental.
And we know as we come back, we're going to encounter surprises, challenges. Some of them we can't even begin to guess what they might be yet. We've never done this before, so we just don't know. Others of them are things that we know are going to be difficult. We're preparing for them as best we can, but that doesn't mean they're all going to be able to be easily addressed.
Sabemos que vamos a tener desafíos cuando comencemos esa transición. Ahí vamos a tener algunos que ni siquiera podemos imaginarlos qué van a hacer, pero sabemos que los vamos a tener y los vamos a poder corregirlos.
Okay. And so because of all of these factors, we're going to have to be patient with each other. We're going to have to be flexible. We're going to have to just really practice a lot of understanding and consideration for each other.
Tendremos que ser flexibles y pacientes unos con el otro y recordar que esta es una nueva situación y tenemos que tener mucha paciencia.
Okay. So this is our schedule for bringing our grades back, for bringing our grades and our programs back. As of right now, as I note down here, that the schedules are subject, there's a chance that they will have some final changes made to them, which would be actually announced tomorrow.
So este es nuestro cronograma para el regreso a la escuela. Están todos los grados, como puede ver con las fechas. Como dice abajo, estos son sujetos a ajustes finales, que si son cambiados se anunciará tan pronto como mañana.
Okay, so right now we're intending to start on March 18th, and you can see that our preschool program, our students who are in our special education program, the intensive learning centers, our 12th graders at Dixon High, and our students from Main Prairie and the community day school would come back on March 18th.
Como pueden ver aquí, el jueves 18 de marzo regresarían primero los estudiantes del preescolar, los estudiantes de educación especial que son parte de los centros de aprendizaje intensivos y los estudiantes de último año y los estudiantes de Main Prairie y la escuela Community Day School.
And on March 22nd, it would be transitional kindergarten and kindergarten, first grade, sixth grade, and ninth grade.
El 22 de marzo regresarían los estudiantes de kinder transicional, del kinder, del primero, sexto y noveno grado.
And March 25th, second grade, third grade, fourth grade, and seventh grade.
El 25 de marzo regresarían a los grados 2, 3, 4 y 7.
And finally, on March 29th, fifth grade, eighth grade, 10th grade, and 11th grade.
Y finalmente el 29 de marzo regresarían los estudiantes del grados quinto, el 8, 10 y el 11.
So it might look a little crazy how these are organized, but we're trying to do things like here you have 2 elementary grades, 1 middle school grade, and 1 high school grade. So we're trying to open up more than one level of schools in the district at a time.
La razón por qué ve varios grados para cada día que comenzarán es porque estamos tratando de regresar a los estudiantes a un grado de la escuela primaria, otro de la escuela secundaria y otro de la preparatoria, perdón.
Okay, and again, these might get one little final adjustment that we would be announcing tomorrow.
Y un recordatorio que todo esto es sujeto se puede cambiar y si se cambiaría, se anunciarían tan pronto como mañana.
So as we've been saying all along through this pandemic, our safety and health is the first priority, the top priority that we have.
Como hemos dicho durante todo este tiempo, nuestra prioridad es la seguridad.
Okay, and we follow the guidance and the directions from these 3 agencies. One is from the federal government and one is from the state government.
So, estamos siguiendo.
State government, sorry.
No, you're fine. Seguimos la orientación de estas siguientes agencias federales y estatales.
So the biggest one is from the Centers for Disease Control, the CDC. And next is California's Department of Public Health. And then finally is Cal OSHA. And OSHA especially gives guidance for employees.
So las 3 oficinas donde recibimos orientación, una es el Centro para el Control de Enfermedades y el Departamento de Salud Pública de California y Cal OSHA. Cal OSHA es más guiado hacia los empleados.
All right, so the CDC prioritized 5 areas for safety and health precautions. And they are the face coverings and distancing, hand washing and sanitizing, cleaning and disinfection, and then the contact tracing, the isolation and quarantining when cases happen.
La prioridad de cinco áreas para del CDC son las mascarillas, el distanciamiento social, el lavado y desinfección de manos, limpieza y desinfección, tras el aislamiento y la cuarentena.
So I'm going to talk about each of these five in some detail, and then after these five, there's another page with about 5 on it, but these get the most detail, okay?
Vamos a hablar específicamente de esas 5 áreas.
All right, so face coverings or masks. So everybody who comes on campus is going to have to wear a mask. So even our youngest students, our TK and kindergarten students, will have to wear a mask at all times while they're on campus, except when they are having something to eat or drink.
So, todos los que se presenten a cualquier sitio de escuela deben usar una mascarilla en todo momento. La única excepción sería cuando comen o están bebiendo agua. Esos son de los estudiantes más pequeños hasta los estudiantes más grandes.
Okay, so you can wear a mask itself, or you can wear one of the plastic shields, one of the face screens, I think they also get called. But if you wear the screen, you have to have a drape or a piece of fabric that tucks down into your shirt. So you kind of have that sealed off.
So, pueden usar mascarillas que solo cubren la boca y la nariz, o pueden utilizar el protector facial. La única cosa que es protector facial, tienen que tener un pedazo de tela, o aquí se le llama cortina, por detrás, y tiene que estar metido adentro sería de lo de atrás de la camisa o de la blusa de los estudiantes.
Okay. Children can use their own mask if they'd like, or they can use masks or shields that we give them. We have a really, really large supply to provide every child with masks, both the disposable kind and the cloth kind.
Los estudiantes pueden usar sus propias máscaras o sus propios protectores faciales, o pueden utilizar los que se le daría el distrito. Tenemos un amplio suministro de mascarillas desechables y de tela.
Okay, and we know that there may be some students, and it will be a small number, who might have a unique situation, special circumstance where they can't wear a mask. And so every family would have to work with the school really on a one-on-one or individual basis to make sure that that those issues get addressed.
So, sabemos que va a haber excepciones a este requisito de mascarillas, pueden ser por cuestiones de salud. So, les pedimos a todas las familias que trabajen con su escuela para que sean revisados dependiendo el caso.
Okay. So distancing, I think I'm probably going to end up standing 6 feet apart from people for the rest of my life at this point. I think it's just burned into my old brain here. So the 6-foot distancing is going to be all over campus.
So, vamos a tener el requisito de estar con distanciamiento de 6 pies de cualquier persona en todas las escuelas.
Mm-hmm. Karina, you were supposed to say that
Oh,
it's
yes.
I'm going to do that for the rest of my life.
Lo que dice es que lo hemos hecho tan seguido ahora del distanciamiento social de 6 pies que lo vamos a seguir haciendo para el resto de nuestras vidas.
Yeah, I've started sleeping 6 feet away from my wife.
Él dice que ha empezado a dormir hasta 6 pies de distancia de su esposa.
Okay, there are some cases where you could just be 4 feet apart, but we're not going to be dealing with those. We're going to stay 6 feet.
Hay algunas guías que dicen que nos permiten estar solo 4 pies de distancia, pero nosotros no vamos a seguir eso, nos vamos a enfocar en seguir la de 6 pies.
Okay. To help distancing in classrooms, some of the furniture has already been moved out or will be moved out before students return. And we also, we have a calculation that that helps us decide how many desks you can actually have in a classroom. So there's a limit, and it's really 16 students. 16 students would be the maximum that could be in a room at any time.
Se han quitado los muebles de algunos salones de clase para permitir más espacio para los escritorios de los estudiantes. Hay una fórmula que utilizaron para saber cuántos escritorios puede haber en cada salón, y son 16 escritorios en cada salón.
So students' desks, each student will use their own desk each day, and they will be cleaned between every use. So we'll always make sure that students sit down at a desk that has been cleaned.
So, cada estudiante va a tener su propio escritorio y se va a hacer solo para ellos, y se va a limpiar cada día, entre cada uso.
We have the plexiglass, or the big sheets of plastic barriers that are going to be on top of each desk. So that's going to help keep kids separate and a little bit safer.
So, tenemos las barreras de plexiglas que sé que algunos de ustedes ya han visto por todos lados. Estarán entre cada escritorio para poder tener el distanciamiento entre los estudiantes y cualquier otra persona.
Okay, and finally, the 6-foot separation, the 6-foot distancing, students are going to have to do that outside as well. And we know that's going to be very hard for a lot of students, especially our younger students. Excuse me, but it is part of the guidance that we have to follow.
También se va a requerir que los estudiantes tengan 6 pies de distancia cuando estén afuera al aire libre. Va a ser algo difícil, pero es algo que se tendrá que seguir.
So hand washing and sanitizing, this is a really important part of staying healthy as well. And every student, when they walk through the gate at school, they will get the sanitizer and rub it on their hands as they come in.
So, lavado y desinfectación de manos. Cada estudiante cuando entre a la escuela va a recibir desinfectante para sus manos todos los días.
And every time students come in and out of their classroom, whether that's for recess or a break or they're changing classrooms, they will use the sanitizer when they come in there as well.
También lo utilizarán cuando entren o salgan del salón, ya sea para el recreo o vayan de un salón a otro. Tendrán que desinfectarse las manos al entrar y al salir de los salones.
Okay, and some classrooms have sinks. Mostly those are in the elementary schools, and so students could wash their hands also as an option for cleaning their hands.
Todos los salones, casi en toda la mayoría en las primarias, tienen fregadores donde se permite el lavado de manos en todos los salones de clase.
Okay, and we have the sanitizer dispensers. They're all over the campuses. They're outside and they're in every classroom as well. So there's a lot of the hand sanitizer around.
So, hemos puesto dispensadores de desinfectante en todos lados en las escuelas, para que los estudiantes puedan acceder afuera y adentro de los salones.
And students really should be washing their hands after using the bathroom. It's supposed to be for at least 20 seconds that they should be doing that. I know some boys who probably don't wash their hands in 20 days and don't even last 20 seconds in, but that is the expectation, that in the bathroom you wash your hands for those 20 seconds.
La expectativa es que todos los estudiantes deben lavarse las manos por un mínimo de 20 segundos cada vez que utilicen el baño. Lo que dice es que él conoce a algunos niños que no se han lavado las manos en 20 días, pero la expectativa es de que se lo tienen que lavar las manos por lo menos 20 segundos cada vez que usen el baño.
Okay. And moving on. Oops. So to cleaning and disinfecting. So every student desk will be cleaned between uses. So whether that is the 8:30 class and the 9:30 class at the high school or the middle school, or whether it's between the morning class and the afternoon class in the elementary school, all desks, all tables are wiped down and cleaned.
Cada escritorio o mesa de los estudiantes se limpiará entre cada uso, ya sea en la preparatoria, entre la clase de las 8 y las clases de las 9, de las 9 de la mañana, perdón, o si es en la primaria, entre la clase de la mañana y la clase de la tarde.
There was a change about 6 weeks ago or so that it's just regular cleaning supplies are used on desks or tables for students. They used to tell us to use the disinfectants, but the chemicals were too strong for students in those settings.
Hubo un cambio hace unas semanas donde ahora solo debemos usar limón para limpiar los escritorios. No podemos usar otros limpiadores por los productos químicos que tienen y pueden dañar a nuestros estudiantes.
Okay, we have a lot of things at schools get touched frequently. So in the bathrooms, door handles, sometimes where food is passed out, the countertops and other things get touched over and over and over during a day. So those things will be cleaned more frequently. They'll be disinfected throughout the day.
Las áreas que se tocan con más frecuencia o durante todo el día se desinfectarán más veces durante el día. Esto incluye los baños, las manijas de las puertas, las áreas donde distribuyen los alimentos, los mostradores o cualquier otra área que se use bastante durante el día se limpiará con más frecuencia.
And anything that gets spilled will have to be cleaned up really quickly. So we don't have problems with that. And those things will be disinfected also.
So, si se llega a tirar algún tipo de líquido, eso se limpiará y se desinfectará inmediatamente.
Okay. And finally, we're really planning and setting very detailed schedules for the cleaning of classrooms and other spaces, and making sure that we have enough people to do that work.
So, se está planificando horarios de limpieza específicos y el personal adecuado para hacerlo.
All right. And then this next big section is really all about what happens if there is a COVID case or a suspected COVID case on the campus with either students or with staff members.
El rastreo de contacto, esto todo tiene que ver con si llega a haber algún caso positivo, qué serían las cosas que tenemos que hacer.
Okay, and the guidance from the health agencies that we've talked about is really very, very clear and simple, and well, not simple, but it's very clear. And it's what we're following. We are going by what the experts have told us and continue to tell us.
So, la guía es de las 3 oficinas de las que hablamos anteriormente sobre los detalles que tenemos que seguir cuando pasa algo así en nuestra planificación.
And one of the things they tell us and emphasize, if you are feeling ill, if your child is feeling ill, if they're sick in any way, they should absolutely stay home from school that day. We just can't have people who are sick coming to school. It will make things really, really difficult.
So, una de las cosas que tenemos que recordar es que si sus hijos están enfermos o se sienten, aunque sea un poco de enfermos, se tienen que quedar en casa. No podemos permitir que alguien con cualquier síntoma, por mínimo que sea, vaya a la escuela. So, tienen que quedarse en casa.
Sorry, Karina.
No, you're fine.
There's a document that the California Department of Public Health published in January. It's this long title in there, and I'm not going to ask Karina to read that. Even I'm not going to read it. And it has very, very clear, explicit directions on what happens if there's a suspected case, a positive case, whether it's a student or a staff member. So they're very clear rules that we have to follow in case somebody is on campus and is positive for COVID.
Estas oficinas de las que hemos hablado han publicado un documento muy largo y muy detallado en los pasos que tenemos que tomar cuando hay un caso positivo, ya sea de un estudiante o un miembro del personal. Es muy largo, pero está muy detallado con directrices muy bien explicadas que nosotros debemos seguir y que seguiremos si es algo así pasa.
Okay. We have to work really closely with the Solano County Office of Public Health if we have a report of a case or if there is an outbreak, anything of that nature. So we meet with this office regularly already, but if someone should be sick, have the virus at school, we work with them even more closely.
Las oficinas con las que trabajamos muy de cerca es con la Oficina de Salud Pública del Condado de Solano, para informarles o responder si hay algún caso positivo. Tenemos contacto con ellos o comunicación con ellos muy seguido, y con ellos sería una de las oficinas a las que tendríamos que dejarles saber.
And finally, on this slide, there are the rules about what happens if there's a positive case. And sometimes that might be one person goes home and stays. Sometimes it might be a small number. Sometimes it might be a whole classroom. In really bad cases, it could be the whole school. And in a horrible, horrible situation, it could be the whole school district. But those events don't happen really very often. Usually if there's an outbreak, it's maybe one classroom that is impacted.
So, si llega a pasar donde tenemos algún caso positivo, puede hacer que se mande a casa un solo estudiante para quedarse en casa, o puede ser que sea un grupo de estudiantes, o puede ser que sea todo un salón de clase. En cuestiones más serias, hasta toda una escuela se puede cerrar, y una más seria todavía sería donde tendríamos que cerrar todo el distrito. Pero estos casos no son muy comunes.
All right, some other safety areas. So the first one are stable groups. And the idea behind the stable groups is to have students interact with the smallest number of other students as possible. And the same thing, teachers interact with the smallest number of students as possible, so that you have the little protected group and keep the risk of transmitting the virus lower.
Vamos a tener grupos estables, vamos a limitar la cantidad de estudiantes y el personal que interactúan entre sí. Esa es una manera buena de controlar la seguridad y no exponer a muchos estudiantes o el personal.
All right. Daily screening questions. Many of us have gone somewhere where it's certainly the dentist or doctor's offices. Some businesses even ask us these questions. But it's 4 questions, and do you have a fever? Have you had a cough or a runny nose? Have you been around anybody with those? Have you been around anybody with COVID? So those questions will be given to all families, and you're going to be responsible to review those questions at home before you send your child to school.
So, las preguntas de detección diarias. Estas son las preguntas que ya todos estamos acostumbrados a contestar cuando vamos al dentista, a la oficina de doctor o a algunas tiendas o donde sea, donde nos preguntan, ¿hemos tenido algún síntoma de gripe, de fiebre? ¿Hemos tenido por alguien que ha tenido COVID? Estas preguntas se les van a dar a las familias todos los días y van a ser responsables de contestarlas ellos mismos antes de llevar a sus hijos a la escuela todos los días.
All right, and then we have testing, and in particular response testing. And response testing means if a student is if there's a suspicion that a student has been exposed to COVID, then we would provide testing for that student at no cost. So possible exposure, possible contracting the disease, then we would provide the testing to find out if the student actually has COVID.
So, pruebas de respuesta. Esto quiere decir que si hay sospecha de que algún estudiante pudo ser puesto en riesgo o tuvo contacto con alguien de COVID y a lo mejor lo podría tener, el distrito pondrá las pruebas para COVID a la disposición de los estudiantes y o el personal en situaciones de posible exposición, sin ningún costo.
All right, ventilation. So our HVAC units, so that's the heater, air conditioner, those have the highest level of filters in them that we can provide. So they clean the air absolutely as well as possible. And then we purchased what are called HEPA filters, air purifiers, that have been placed in every classroom as well. So we're making a good effort to keep the air clean.
Ventilación. El distrito ha utilizado filtros para nuestros aires acondicionados y nuestros calentones de más alta calidad posible para nuestros sistemas y los hemos colocado en todos nuestros sistemas. También hemos comprado purificadores de aires con filtros de HEPA y cada salón de clases tiene uno.
All right, access to campuses. So this is not a very important topic to most parents of high schoolers or middle schoolers because like my children when they were young, they didn't want to be seen with me. As the kids get older, they don't really want to be present around mom or dad. The same is not true for our little ones.
So esta siguiente área es el acceso a campus. Esto casi no es ninguna preocupación grande para nuestros padres de la secundaria y la preparatoria. Entre más grandes entre más van creciendo, no quieren verse en público con sus papás o que sus papás los acompañen a la escuela. Es que pertenece a los estudiantes de primaria.
So our students are going to be directed to enter a particular gate or other point on campus to make sure they go in the same place every day. And it might be that they go in with the same students from the same grade or from the same part of campus. But we're going to be managing real closely how people come in and out of the campus.
Puede ser que los estudiantes ingresen a través de la misma entrada todos los días. Puede ser que ingresen con el grupo de estudiantes de su propia clase, pero vamos a estar monitoreando las entradas y las salidas para ver cuáles funcionan y poder asignarles las entradas.
Okay. And unfortunately, because of the need to just keep things safe, parents aren't going to be able to come on campus to walk their child to the classroom door or stand in a line with them. Some of the things that has been really important to a lot of families over the years.
Desafortunadamente, por todas estas cosas de seguridad, los padres de familia no podrán acompañar a sus estudiantes a clase o ingresar al campus a pararse con su estudiante como lo hacían antes cuando estaban esperando en la línea para entrar a la escuela. Eso ya no se podrá hacer.
And finally, when parents want to go to the office, there's going to be really very clear and pretty strict rules about how you get into the office. The door may be locked and you knock, or other ways that the office staff will let you in. So we're really hoping that families will be able to use the phone and use email as much as possible to be able to contact the office and not have to go inside.
Va a haber directrices muy claras cómo las familias pueden entrar a nuestras oficinas escolares. Cada escuela va a tener sus propias reglas, ya sea que tienen que tocar la puerta antes de entrar o tienen que llamar antes de entrar o ponerse en contacto con la oficina por medio de correos electrónicos, pero cada escuela se le comunicará con ustedes de cuáles serán esas reglas.
All right. Schedules. So some of you who have attended other meetings, I think know that we have to negotiate with the labor unions, our teachers union and our classified employee union around a lot of things, but including the schedules especially. And so we've been working very hard on that. And you can see we've yesterday, today, and again tomorrow, amongst many, many other days.
Como la mayoría de ustedes ya sabe, nuestros horarios, hemos estado trabajando con nuestros sindicatos de maestros y de personal clasificado ayer, hoy y lo volvemos a hacer mañana.
Okay. We really wish that we had already been able to provide you with the schedules. We know that that's frustrating that for a lot of you that you don't have them and that your plans really depend on knowing exactly when school will be and when your kids will be responsible to participate in all the learning activities. So we apologize that we're still not quite finished with these.
Les pedimos una disculpa, yo sé que es un poco frustrante el que no les podamos presentar los horarios a ustedes ahorita cuando están haciendo sus decisiones, pero esperamos poder hacerlo muy pronto.
All right. So we can tell you some things about the schedules that we are in agreement with our Teachers Association.
Les podemos compartir algunos elementos de los horarios en los que hemos coincidido con nuestra asociación de maestros.
Okay. So this slide is for elementary school, really. And although some of it applies to all grade levels. And it's really important that every family understands you can choose to keep your child in distance learning, or you can choose to have your child report to school in person.
Es muy importante que todas las familias tengan en cuenta que si quisieran que sus hijos permanezcan en el aprendizaje a distancia, tienen el derecho de escoger eso.
And right now is the time to let us know. You can call your school office and let them know, or on our webpage, and there is a link in Spanish. You can fill out the form telling us what if you wish your child to stay in distance learning.
Ahorita es cuando nos tienen que dejar saber, pueden hacerlo de dos maneras, pueden llamar a la escuela a la que sus hijos asisten o pueden llenar un formulario que está disponible presionando un enlace en nuestro sitio de web donde está el enlace para el formulario en español.
Okay. The students who, students are not going to have different teachers. They're going to keep their same teachers and they're going to be in the same classes that they have been since the start of the year.
Los estudiantes no tendrán nuevos maestros, estarán con sus mismos maestros que han tenido todo el año.
And students who decide to stay in distance learning, they will attend class remotely. So they'll use their computer just as they are now to attend class each day.
Los estudiantes que permanezcan en el aprendizaje a distancia asistirán a clases como lo han hecho hasta ahorita, por medio de su computadora.
All right. And then in elementary school, students who come back in person, they're going to be in person for at least 2 days a week, but we hope that it will be 4. That's one of the things we're negotiating on right now, but at least 2 days a week, and it could be as many as 4.
This is for elementary, correct?
Yes.
Brian? Okay. So, Los estudiantes de las escuelas primarias que regresen a recibir instrucción en persona, esos son los estudiantes de primaria solamente, pueden recibir su instrucción en persona de 2 a 4 días por semana. 2 días, eso sí le podemos decir que sería el mínimo, pero en eso estamos trabajando con nuestro sindicato de maestros para ver si se podría hacer 4 días a la semana.
Okay, and Wednesday is going to stay like it has been with the asynchronous day, the day where kids work independently.
El miércoles se va a seguir siendo un día asincrónico, donde los estudiantes trabajan en sus tareas o asignaciones independientes.
And for elementary age students, again, they will stay in a morning group or an afternoon group.
Y otra vez, para nuestros estudiantes de las escuelas primarias, continuarán en grupos de la mañana y de la tarde.
And as the schedules get finalized and families may have an older student and a younger student, and they all have a problem with the schedules conflicting, you can certainly talk to your school about changing your child from the morning to the the morning to the afternoon, or the afternoon to the morning, the opposite.
Mientras, ya cuando los horarios estén finalizados, si tienen otros estudiantes más grandes, ya sea en la secundaria o mismo en la primaria, y desean que estén en el mismo grupo, ya sea los dos en la mañana o en la tarde, pueden hablar con la escuela para hacer el cambio.
All right. Food. We are going to be making sure that students who want to eat receive food from the school district.
Alimentos. Nos tenemos que asegurar que todos nuestros estudiantes que desean recibir alimentos aquí de la escuela les podamos proporcionar esos alimentos.
All right. And we don't know exactly when food will be served and how it will be served. The schedule for instruction has to be finished first. But we do know that there will be food available both for breakfast and for lunch.
No tenemos todos los detalles de cómo y cuándo se ofrecerán estos alimentos o los horarios hasta que estén todos los horarios finalizados, pero sí vamos a proporcionar los alimentos y también sabremos que se dará el desayuno y el almuerzo.
All right. Talking about elementary schools, we wanted to give you an idea of how many students might be on campus at one time. And this is trying to show you the highest number of students who might be on campus at one time.
Okay. Esto es otra vez solo para los estudiantes de primaria. Queríamos darle una idea de cuántos estudiantes estarían en instrucción en persona a la vez.
All right. And at Anderson, I'm going to skip talking about all that stuff. At Anderson, the maximum number of students who would be on campus at a time, because we expect about 75% of students to return in person, would be 161 students. So a pretty small number.
So, en la escuela Anderson, estamos esperando que el 75% de nuestros estudiantes regresen a la escuela en persona. So, el número máximo de estudiantes por día en la Anderson sería de 161.
And at Tremont, Tremont has 379 students. And doing the same thing of dividing them up and doing all the math, the biggest number of students who should be on Tremont, on the Tremont campus, is around 143.
En la Tremont, haciendo todos los cálculos, otra vez del 75%, el número máximo de estudiantes que estarían en campus recibiendo instrucción en persona sería de 143.
And at Gretchen Higgins, the whole same thing. That maximum number is about 139.
Y en la Gretchen Higgins, el máximo número de estudiantes sería 3.
All right, so we feel like those are numbers of students who we can manage really pretty easily. It's just not that many kids on a campus at one time. All right.
Sabemos que ese es un número que podemos, será muy fácil de acomodar porque no son tantos estudiantes en una escuela a la vez.
So I want to make some summary points here, just to some of the bigger ideas, right? So the first one is we're really trying to make sure that the new schedules are closely matched to the current schedules. We don't want to change things up dramatically and have families have to adjust to really having to just change everything that they're doing in terms of time.
Estamos tratando de alinear nuestros horarios y para el híbrido, muy cerca a los horarios que tenemos actualmente para que no sea un cambio muy grande para nuestros estudiantes.
And we're building these schedules, whether AB or morning and afternoon, really trying to just make sure that our groups are stable and we are promoting the safety as much as possible.
Estamos diseñando estos cronogramas en las agrupaciones A y B para asegurarnos de que los grupos estén estables y estén seguros en todo momento.
And hopefully you saw, as I talked at the start of this, just that we have a lot of things planned for the safety and making sure that people stay healthy.
Como dijimos al principio, tenemos muchos protocolos y ya prácticas de seguridad para asegurarnos que todos estén seguros.
All right, and next is students get to stay with their teachers in their classes. There's not going to be any change that anyone will experience.
Otra vez, los estudiantes quedarán con sus maestras que han tenido hasta ahorita, habrá ningún cambio.
And again, the families who want to stay in distance learning, please, please, please choose to do so. We don't want to force you to come in person if you don't want to. And you just need to tell us now, right? Until Sunday evening, you need to tell us if you want to stay in distance learning.
Las familias que quieran continuar en aprendizaje a distancia tienen ese derecho, nada más nos tienen que dejar saber, tienen hasta el domingo para llenar la encuesta o pueden llamar a la escuela o al distrito mañana.
And we want to make sure you know that if you chose distance learning now and then decided you wanted to send your child to school, or if you chose in person now and decided you wanted to go back to distance learning, you can do that. We're going to let you change your mind one time and switch programs either direction.
Es muy importante que sepan que todas las familias podrán cambiar su elección de programa una vez. Si eligieron por quedarse en el aprendizaje a distancia y después desean cambiarse a la instrucción en persona, lo pueden hacer o viceversa. Lo pueden hacer una vez.
Okay. And then, we know school is going to be different, but it's going to be good. For those of you who choose to send your kids back in person, we are so excited about having them. We think ultimately the best place for kids to learn is in school. We absolutely understand and support right now if you prefer distance learning. But whatever happens here is going to be good for us.
Sabemos que algunos de ustedes no están muy seguros de mandar a sus estudiantes a instrucción en persona y está bien. Sabemos que va a ser muy diferente, pero de la manera que cualquier decisión que ustedes tomen va a ser la correcta y todo estará bien.
Okay. I made a mistake in what I gave you, Karina, to translate. I want to go through the secondary stuff. So we're going to see how good a translator Karina is.
Oh, that's great.
Isn't that great, Karina? And Karina is a good translator. So that's what we know. I need to show you the information for John Knight Middle School and Dixon High School and Main Prairie. So
Ahora les vamos a enseñar la información acerca de nuestras secundarias y nuestras preparatorias.
And please make sure people know you're a good translator too.
No, that's okay.
No. You are a good translator and a very nice person on top of it all. All right, I've already done that slide. So, and I've already done that slide, except here's something that's different. Sorry, I shouldn't have done that. And then I got out of English to Spanish. Okay, and now I need to share my screen. Okay. So something that is different here, something we know for sure, at John Knight Middle School and Dixon High School, students will attend class 4 days per week.
4 days per week?
Oh, actually, sorry. No. Hold on. Duh. Let me erase that, please. Thank you. Students will attend in person 2
2
days
days a week.
at the secondary level. Yes.
Okay. So, para las escuelas John Knight Middle School y la Texan High School, algo que sabemos por seguridad ahorita es que los estudiantes regresarán a la escuela por lo menos 2 días por semana.
Right. And the reason they're only 2 days a week is that we are trying to, we talked about the stable groups before. We're trying to keep the students in as small a group as possible and avoid mixing them all up over and over and over again. That just puts more risk into things.
So, la razón por esto es, como ya habíamos hablado, que es muy importante de agrupar a los estudiantes y no intercambiarlos o que convivan con muchos estudiantes a la vez. Y la manera de hacerlo seguramente sería solo permitiendo que los estudiantes regresen a la escuela 2 días por semana.
Okay. The next element here is at John Knight and Dixon High, there will be A and B groupings. We had those earlier in the year. And the A group goes in person Monday and Tuesday. The B group goes in person Thursday and Friday. And the other 2 days of the week, they stay remote, and Wednesday stays as it is.
Okay, so en estas dos escuelas, en John Knight y en la high school, vamos a volver a tener a los estudiantes en grupos A y B, como lo teníamos antes. Los estudiantes del grupo A van a ir a la escuela en persona los lunes y martes. El miércoles serían independiente y estarían en la computadora los jueves y viernes. Los estudiantes del grupo B estarían trabajando por su computadora lunes y martes, miércoles es independiente y asistirían en persona el jueves y el viernes.
All right. Students will continue in all the classes that they currently have, and they will attend those, except for Wednesday, just like now, 2 of the days in person, 2 of the days remotely.
Los estudiantes se quedarán en su horario que tienen actualmente, no cambiarán ninguna cosa de su horario, asistirían en persona 2 días, trabajarán 2 días por medio de su computadora, como lo hacen ahorita, y el miércoles sería independiente.
And again, we're trying to keep the schedule very similar, so the classes should be about the same length in time as they currently are.
Los periodos van a ser muy similar a lo que tienen ahorita en cuestiones de cuánto tiempo estén en cada clase. So, estamos trabajando para que el horario sea muy similar a lo que tienen ahorita.
And just like I said in the earlier slide, for elementary, food will be available for students every day.
Y también habrá alimentos proporcionados para nuestros estudiantes de la secundaria y la preparatoria, como lo es para los estudiantes de la primaria.
All right, for the alternative ed program, so that's for Main Prairie High School and the Community Day School, things are going to be, in general, similar to those for John Knight Middle School and Dixon High School.
Okay. Para nuestros estudiantes que asisten a Main Prairie o a la Community Day School, los horarios serían un poco similares a los de John Knight y Dixon High School.
And there is a chance at Main Prairie, because it's a small school, just under 100 students, that we might be able to do something different than what we're doing at John Knight and Dixon High.
Hay una posibilidad que en la escuela Main Prairie, porque hay menos estudiantes inscritos, que el horario sea un poquito diferente a los de la preparatoria Dixon High.
And the Community Day School doesn't have separate classes. It's all one period of time. So they will have a very similar schedule of starting in the morning and ending in the afternoon.
Para la escuela Community Day será un horario muy similar al que han tenido antes. Sería la hora de entrada y la hora de salida. Ellos no tienen un horario con periodos, solo es entrada y salida.
And just want to show you, like I did for the elementary schools, okay, the maximum number of students we think we would have on campus on any day. So at John Knight Middle School, there's 580 students total. If we split those into A and B, that's 290. And after you subtract the people who will stay at home for distance learning, we think it'll be about 218 students total would be the highest number on the campus.
En la secundaria John Knight tenemos 580 estudiantes inscritos, los dividimos en dos grupos, sería 290 y esperamos que el máximo de número de estudiantes que estén en la escuela recibiendo su instrucción en persona al día sea 218.
And at Dixon High School, the numbers are figured out the same way. And the maximum number of kids on campus any day would be 381.
En Dixon High School, la misma fórmula se utilizó. El máximo número de estudiantes que estaría en la escuela al día sería 381.
And at Main Prairie, same, they have about 100 students, so the maximum number would be 37.
En Main Prairie solo tiene 99 estudiantes, so el número máximo de estudiantes que estaría en la escuela sería 37.
And these are the same points I went over earlier, so I don't need to repeat those. So that completes the presentation. And now we want to give you the chance to ask any questions or make any comments that you might have. So if you know how to raise your hand in Zoom, and some people have learned that now and other people haven't, please raise your hand and I will call on you. And if hands don't get raised and you would just like to ask a question, you can just go ahead and turn your microphone on and ask your question. So happy to answer anything that you would like to know more about.
So ahorita ya ya hemos concluido nuestra presentación. Ahora podemos contestar cualquier pregunta que ustedes tengan. Los que ya se han familiarizado con Zoom y sepan utilizar el botón de levantar la mano, lo pueden hacer de esa manera para hacer su pregunta, o si desean prender su micrófono y hacer la pregunta como gusten.
Okay. So any questions?
¿Preguntas?
Or comments?
¿O comentarios?
Así yo
¿Van
tengo
a
una
tener
pregunta.
recreo en la escuela?
So it looks like Maggie was starting to speak, I think.
Maggie, ¿tienes alguna pregunta?
Que si van a tener recreo los niños en la escuela.
Okay. Are we going to have recess at schools?
There will be short recess, yes, and it'll be different than recess usually has been. Recess, old recess was the bell rang, kids ran out of their classrooms, and they all mixed up and played with each other for the time of recess.
I'm trying to join on my phone because my computer battery is going to
I just added you in there.
Okay.
Tried to, at least. You in?
Okay. Okay. So la respuesta, did you say yes?
Yes, there will be recess, but it will be a lot different than what we're used to. Old recess was kids just mixed themselves all up completely, and recess now will be, each class will be kept very separate from each other.
Sí va a haber recreo durante el día que estén en la escuela, solo que va a ser muy diferente a lo que están acostumbrados. A lo mejor el recreo va a ser dividido por cada salón. Sí lo va a haber, pero va a ser muy diferente.
Okay. And I see Silva L has a hand up, please.
Así, gracias. Para los estudiantes de la secundaria no me quedó claro cómo son los grupos estables. Como se mencionó que cada estudiante va a tener su propio escritorio
y los estudiantes tienen diferentes maestros en diferentes clases, ¿cómo va a funcionar eso? No sé si me lo puede explicar otra vez.
So in terms of the high school students, how you said that they were going to be in groups, but when it comes to like desks and stuff, how is that going to work for them? Because they have multiple classes.
Right, they do. And having the stable groups in high school and middle school is really, really hard to do compared to elementary school. So it's easy in the younger grades, the younger school, they're all second graders. They stay together all day long. And so you can control that group really pretty easily.
So en la secundaria es un poco más difícil, porque los estudiantes de la primaria solo tienen un grupo con el que están durante el día. Es un poco más difícil para la secundaria.
And in high school, kids have 6 classes or some 7 classes with all those different teachers and all those different rooms. So students automatically are mixed up much, much more than in elementary.
En la secundaria, como los estudiantes tienen 6 diferentes clases, tienen 6 diferentes maestros, so es un poco más difícil de agruparlos.
So when it comes to classrooms, students will only ever sit at a desk or a table that has been cleaned before they sit down at it. Why don't you go ahead with that much, Karina? I'm going to think about how to describe this.
Okay. So, cuando entren a cualquier salón, los estudiantes de la secundaria o la preparatoria solo se sentarán en un escritorio que ya ha sido limpiado y desinfectado.
So let me try this, and it's complicated. So I'll clarify for you, Karina, if you need. So in the high school classroom, 2 desks will be together, and then 6 feet apart, 2 more desks will be together, and then 6 feet apart, 2 more desks will be together. And each pair of desks, one will be an A desk and one will be a B desk.
Okay. En las clases de la preparatoria y la secundaria, en el salón va a haber 2 escritorios juntos, 6 pies de distancia, habrá otros 2 escritorios y luego otros 6 pies, otros 2 escritorios.
And the students who go to that room first, they would sit in the A desk. And the students who go into that room the next period, the next class, they would sit in the B desks. So they are coming and sitting, each student is sitting in the different desk so that they're not getting the germs of the person before them.
So los estudiantes que entren a la clase primero se sentarán en un escritorio. Los estudiantes que entren después se sentarán en el segundo escritorio para que no se sienten en el mismo escritorio.
And then in the time between classes, after those 2 groups have gone and both desks have been used, our staff will go in and they will clean the desks again, so that the next group of students come in and they will sit at a clean desk.
Y entre esos 2, ya cuando se hayan usado esos 2 escritorios, nuestro personal de limpieza entrará y limpiará los 2 escritorios que están juntos para que el siguiente grupo de estudiantes se siente en escritorios limpios.
Okay, so we know that high school and middle school students are going to mix up more with each other. And that's why it is so important that they wear their masks, their face coverings, that they stay distanced, that they keep their hands clean, and that we do our things about cleaning the rooms and tracking when people get sick.
So sabemos que es un poco más difícil para nuestros estudiantes otra vez de la preparatoria y de la secundaria. Por eso es muy importante que utilicen sus máscaras todos los días. Y sabemos que van a convivir entre ellos mismos. So, el poder controlar de esta manera será muy importante para poder rastrear si es que hay algún un caso positivo.
Okay. That was a good question. Thank you. And I gave a long answer. I hope that was okay. Maria Elena, please.
Sí, buenas noches. Mi pregunta es, escuché al respecto de que, por ejemplo, si yo deseo dejar a mi hijo en casa, educación a distancia, ah, puede seguir con su clase online, ¿verdad? Por Zoom. Pero ¿cómo va a hacer la maestra para tener la transmisión con los niños y tiene que atender los niños que van a estar presenciales?
Okay.
¿Van a tener un nuevo dispositivo para que pueda estar mi hijo mirando las clases?
Okay, so the question is, if she chooses to have her child on continuing distance learning, and they're going to have their same schedule, how is the teacher going to be able to manage the students that are in person and the students that are on Zoom?
Yep, that's a great question. And to answer it honestly, I'm going to say it's going to be very challenging for our teachers to do that. We cannot pretend that it's a simple thing to do.
So va a ser una cosa muy difícil para nuestros maestros. No podemos decirlo de alguna otra manera. Va a ser una cosa muy desafiante para ellos.
We are buying additional cameras for our teachers to use in their classrooms. We are buying little headsets or Bluetooth microphone and earbuds so that the teacher can be better heard as they go through their work. And we have training planned for our teachers here as soon as we can get our calendar finished through negotiations.
So, el distrito ha comprado y está en el proceso de comprar más cámaras que se utilizarán en el salón. También vamos a comprar más audífonos y micrófonos que se utilizarán vía Bluetooth, como todos ustedes a lo mejor tienen en sus teléfonos actualmente. Y vamos a tener desarrollo profesional para nuestros maestros de cómo pueden utilizarlos en la clase ya cuando hayamos finalizado nuestros horarios con la Asociación de Maestros.
Y esto incluye que también la maestra tendrá la oportunidad de observar a los niños por detrás de una computadora, o solamente los niños tendrán la habilidad de mirarla. Por ejemplo, si un niño quiere mostrar en aprendizaje a distancia, quiere mostrar su trabajo, ¿cómo la maestra lo va a poder
hacer por la computadora? Okay. So her question is, so how is the teacher going to be able to attend if the student is on distance learning and has to, once the student wants the teacher to check his or her work, how is the teacher going to be able to do that having other students in the classroom?
Yeah, well, I guess the best comparison I could do, and it's still, it's not a perfect comparison, is our teachers, as long as they've been teaching, have students in different parts of a room. They might be in different groups in the room, doing different things at the same time. And the teachers are skilled at moving from group to group or student to student. And we're asking them to do that in a different way now, that they could be doing that with students in person and students on Zoom. So the idea that a teacher is directly engaged with every student at all times, it's just not how class has ever worked. So we don't expect that will be the case as we move forward.
La manera más fácil de explicarlo sería decir que los estudiantes que están en clase y también en el aprendizaje a distancia serán divididos en grupos mientras están en clase. Las maestras hacen esto todo el tiempo. Cuando estábamos en clases normales, tienen algún grupo de estudiantes trabajando en una asignación específica en una mesa y otros estudiantes trabajando en otra. Eso es lo que les estamos pidiendo a nuestros maestros que hagan ahora, solo que va a ser de una manera muy diferente. Tendrían a unos estudiantes trabajando en algo en persona, mientras ella atiende a los que están en el aprendizaje a distancia.
And I would just add, Karina, if I can, that we know this is going to be challenging. You know, this is something new again, and that our teachers haven't ever had to do it before. And so again, one of the things we want to make sure we do is that we provide training for people here before this starts.
Sabemos que esto es algo que va a ser muy difícil para nuestros maestros. Lo sabemos, y por eso vamos a ofrecer a nuestros maestros un desarrollo profesional lo más pronto que sea posible.
Muchas gracias.
Well, thank you. Other questions or comments?
¿Otras preguntas o comentarios?
¿Cuáles serían en realidad entonces los horarios para primaria y secundaria? ¿El horario de entrada, el horario de salida o cuántas horas van a tener de clase?
Do you know what the schedule will look like as far as start time, end time, and how many hours students will be in person?
Yeah, we're hoping to finalize that tomorrow. We're really trying to build the schedules that will be very, very close to what we currently have in terms of when school starts and when school stops. We're very close to having our agreement with the teachers on this. We're just trying to keep the changes for families as minimal as possible.
Estamos muy cerca de finalizar nuestro horario con la Asociación de Maestros. Lo único que le podemos decir ahorita es que va a ser algo muy similar al horario que tienen los estudiantes actualmente. No queremos que los estudiantes tengan un cambio muy grande.
So I hope to be able to publish that information tomorrow at the end of the day is what I'm hoping for.
Esperamos el poder publicar los horarios mañana por la tarde.
Okay,
Gracias.
thank you. Other questions or comments?
Preguntas, comentarios.
Como los estudiantes que van a tener solamente 2 clases por semana, como en este caso mi estudiante, ella va a ir los lunes y martes, y los otros días, ¿lo va a hacer en línea o solamente van a hacer trabajos o nada más va a ir esos 2 días a la escuela?
So for a student, for her student, if she, I think it's just clarification, if she goes to in-person for 2 days, the remaining of the days will be online. Is she working independently or with the teacher?
So Wednesday, so let's say her child goes to school Monday and Tuesday. Okay. Wednesday would stay as it currently is, where it's the asynchronous day and they don't see their teacher. They work independently. And then Thursday and Friday would be very like what they're doing right now, where they would use the computer to attend class.
So vamos a decir, señora, que su estudiante va a la instrucción en persona el lunes y el martes. El miércoles ella estaría como está ahorita. Los miércoles trabajan independiente, sin las clases en vivo con los maestros. Entonces a ella le tocaría el jueves y el viernes las clases como las tiene ahorita por parte de la computadora.
Other
Gracias.
questions? Oh, thank you. Other questions, please, or comments?
Comentarios, preguntas, por favor.
Y como los estudiantes van a tener como una indicación, porque como es la primera vez que van a ir a la escuela, como mi niña que está en el 7, para indicarles los salones y todo eso.
¿O a los estudiantes que son nuevos? ¿Es lo que pregunta usted? I think the question was if for brand new students that are brand new to the campus, is there going to be a way for them to know like where they're supposed to go, where all the rooms are and all that kind of thing?
Yes, yeah, there will be help at each of the schools for students who are new to us. That's especially a hard thing to think about. For me, it's one thing if a student is returning to a school they've been at before, but if it's a brand new school for them, whether they're new to Dixon or just new to that school, that's hard. So the schools will be making an extra effort to make sure that students who don't know their way around are able to find the places where they're supposed to go.
Eso es algo muy difícil, ya sea si los estudiantes van a entrar a una escuela nueva donde, a la que nunca han asistido. El personal de cada escuela va a hacer un esfuerzo para estar ahí y ayudarle a los estudiantes y decirles dónde está todo para que no haya ninguna confusión.
Está bien, gracias.
Thank you. Other questions or comments?
¿Algunas otras preguntas o comentarios?
Okay, last chance.
Última oportunidad. Cualquier pregunta o comentario que tengan.
Okay, well, thank you, everyone. I will be putting out information tomorrow, later in the day, like I do every Friday. Please make sure you look for that. And as things get finalized, you'll start to hear directly from the schools that your kids attend with specific information about how things are going to happen at the school site. So please look for that coming in the next few days.
Gracias por haber asistido hoy. Por favor, busque nueva información actualizada mañana por la tarde, como lo hay cada viernes. Ya que las cosas empiezan a finalizarse, usted puede esperar más comunicación directamente de la escuela a la que sus estudiantes asisten.
And I just want to say thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you, Karina, for your translations. And, we really are working very hard to do the very best for your children that we can. And we appreciate your support and your work too. I know that parents have never had as many challenges in helping their kids learn and grow. So we thank you for your good work.
Gracias por haber asistido hoy y les damos las gracias por ayudar a todos sus estudiantes. Sabemos que esto es muy difícil, pero ustedes han ayudado bastante. Muchas gracias.
So thank you, everyone, and good night.
Gracias. Buenas noches.
Gracias, buenas noches.
Buenas noches.
Gracias, buenas noches.
Gracias.
Thank you.